things that I'm not, well it seems that I'm caught every time you remind me. You're right, take away my pride, to burn it to the ground, so we can start again. My crimes are left here to remind, to burn it to the ground, so we can start again. So burn it to the ground, so burn it to the ground. You're right, take away my pride, to burn it to the ground, so we can start again. My crimes are left here to remind, to burn it to the ground, so we can start again.
Hello everyone, we're back. Liam and Thomas, we're not in our usual spots today. Thomas is on vacation in Greece. I'm obviously in Prague covering the Flyers, so there'll be plenty of video content coming from that over the couple of days. But what we are both here for, 31-6 the final score. But Thomas, there's a magic number today in today's game, and it's also the same number that Deshaun Jackson wears. But even though he's not on the field, the number 10 stands out. And I mean,
That rings a bell.
I can't think why though. Is there anything particular that we're missing with this, or there's something that's not? Oh, it's because 10 sacks. Right, that's what they did. 10.
I knew Just Sweat had a part in that number. I knew it had to be something like that.
So did Orlando Scandrick, and we're going to get to all of that throughout today's stream. So guys, if you're new around here, welcome to the channel, welcome to the stream. You've got myself, Liam Jenkins, we've got Thomas Ringard with us as well. We want to see how many of you are watching with us right now. We know it's a little bit earlier than usual, but we're on 3 different time zones, which is all kinds of messed up at the minute, so we're trying our best. But let's just get straight into it. So I mean, what's your main takeaway coming from this game, Thomas?
That the defense was expected to dominate. They were expecting to play well against a struggling Jets offense with a lot of injuries and all that, but they dominated. Like, they came out and did exactly what they had to do. Would have been a shutout if it wasn't for some special teams play that I'm sure we're going to be playing. We're going to be talking a little bit on later. But it was a dominating performance on all levels of the defense, even with guys like Craig James starting. I know he's the king, but he's also a guy who just went from the practice squad a little bit a while ago, and they still dominate. Orlando Scandrick has been on the team for like a week or so. So they did what they had to do, and it was great to see them actually get some momentum.
Absolutely. I mean, and talking to King Craig, I mean, that first play, I think the first play of the game where he takes a really bad angle and the receiver runs right by, and it was so similar to what we've seen from like Ronald Darby and even Maddox at points, and it was just like, oh god, okay, here we go again. But he made a couple of plays. Rasul Douglas almost had an interception, and I know there will be a take out there in about 2 days that says, hey, the Eagles don't need to trade for Jalen Ramsey or get a cornerback because they've got these guys and they did okay against the Jets, and it's going to happen. I think a lot of this game we have to take as contextual. Like, it is what it is. I mean, you will not get another game this year where the Eagles get 10 sacks. If they do, I'll be very, very surprised. And that is obviously going to inflate every other number around this team. But on the same merit as that, you don't get the sacks without the solid coverage. And regardless of who you've got, Robbie Anderson is still a guy that can take the top of a defense. There are still a couple of other players they had around that can hurt you, like Le'Veon Bell, for instance. So it is interesting that although it's like, all right, let's relax, let's not get too carried away with a big win over a team we should be blowing out, but there should be a sense of, do you know what? There is still some credit to that.
You said Le'Veon Bell. Did you mean the Le'Veon Jets or
No.
New York?
Was there anything he didn't do? Like, I think he was just like, so running, catching, you know, you might as well just play quarterback for a few snaps on special teams, lined up at linebacker.
I saw a tweet out there that he should have been playing defensive tackle, and I swear I could have seen him out there at defensive tackle.
I saw him with a headset on at one point, just like calling plays with a big play call sheet. But yeah, it was unbelievable. So I mean, do you think it's fair? Like, do we have to brush this game off and say, do you know what? It was fine. It's the Jets. Let's leave it. Let's not take it for granted. Or can we go, do you know what? There were some really good things to take from that.
I mean, they're obvious. There's always good things to take away from a football game. I think people are, like, rightfully so. Everything they've been hearing, the media over the past 10 days, like Philadelphia media saying this is a game Eagles should win, Jets are bad, and the news coming in over and over, like, all right, now Jim Olsen's out, now Sam Darnold's out, now Quentin Williams might not play, and it all just added up to Eagles having to win this game very comfortably. But it's football, and there's a really good athletes on the field. I know there are a lot of things that's a mismatch, but you got to take some things with a grain of salt. Like, let me give you an example. So Luke Falk does not identify coverages as easily as a guy like Aaron Rodgers does. Like, needless to say, that's just how it is. So when you're rushing 6 guys, for example, Eagles did a lot of that tonight where they rushed a lot of guys just to get in Luke's head. Schwartz had a great game plan of really getting in the head of Luke Falk, getting on the ground early, getting pressure. The difference is if you can buy half a second longer with Luke Falk than you can with Aaron Rodgers, and that may be underestimating it. That's the difference between getting a sack and getting a hurry. And we've been seeing a lot of hurry stats for the Eagles defense over the past few weeks, but no sacks. And people go, why is that? Well, that's because you have a quarterback who can identify the coverage and find a soft spot, which there are a lot of soft spots in the Eagles coverage. But with Luke and with this, I'm excited to see the tape from it because I want to see if guys are open. I want to see if Eagles DBs actually covered people or if it's just Luke Falk not getting the ball out quickly enough and hence the defense getting pressure. So you have to take everything into context of the play that is happening, and I can assure you that we already have a great plan on PSN on what to bring you guys that is relevant info to get out of a game like this because you have to sort some things out, and we'll definitely do that. So you're going to get every relevant piece out of this game.
Oh, exactly. That's what we're here for. This is our prime time now. But it's interesting that we spent the opening few minutes talking about defense, and most of the comments in the chat, Tom Whitehouse saying he's not happy with the offense, Facts Over Fiction saying fix that offense. And No Pro Sports, the offense desperately needed Djax to open the passing game. They need to look at Jeffrey's left leg. He's not himself. So offense was spluttering, to say the least. Carson Wentz had flashes of greatness. Like, he made some great throws. The running game was it was perfectly balanced. The one drive that stood out to me was like the start of the third quarter. They took like 7 minutes off the clock. It was all Jordan Howard. And it's like there's one drive like that every week where they just run it down the field, wear the defense out, and then cement the game. And like that was cool. I liked that. The rest of it though, it's a double-edged sword because you don't need to go out and dominate, right? You don't need to go out and offensively put up 50 points or risk getting guys injured or do anything that's too risky. If you're going to make a long developing play, the Jets have still got somewhat of a good defense. Their run defense is still among the best in the NFL. You don't want to get too cute and trying to show off and do flea flickers and long developing routes when you can chip away, play keep away, and know they can't score. So that's one aspect. But the other, though, is that there are a lot of penalties, there are a lot of mistakes, and the Eagles left a lot of meat on the bone. And whether that was intentional or not, you've got to look at that because that has been a recurring theme this year.
It has, and on the penalties, I think Eagles had like 9 penalties for some 70 yards, something in that area. But the penalties came on horrible timings. Like it was third down, like it was second down and manageable. Suddenly you have a second down and long, turning into a third down and long, and that really killed the drive for the Eagles. And crucial downs, they were 5 for 15 on third and fourth down, and that is not a good number you want to put up against the Jets, who's been giving up a lot of points, around 20th second, something like that, in points allowed per game, and a lot of passing yards per game. But like you said, they have some playmakers on defense as well. But it was a slop fest. It was a lot of self-inflicted wounds with penalties, with the drops, and with open guys. And I got sprinklers going in the background now.
Oh wow! So just sprinkling on the salt, just adding some extra wounds.
All right. I think the hotel agrees with me on everything I said right there.
Dude, don't get the laptop wet. That's the last thing you're gonna do. If you have to dart inside, it is fine. But what about? I mean, if we just stay on offense for a second, because obviously the run game got another look again today. And again, I've said this for about 3 weeks now, where it is the same as what we saw in 2016. It's like a different bell cow back. It feels like every week. And although that Jordan Howard was still that guy, today it started up. You had Darren Sproles carrying the ball. You had a couple of wheel routes developing early on, which was nice. Is there anything changed from that Packers game? Because obviously it was such a blowout statement game from Green Bay, where you think there's so much hype around this backfield. You've got thunder, you've got lightning, everyone's buzzing. Was there a come down, do you think, from that, like naturally against his defense? Because it is good against the run.
It is good against the run. It's really, and one guy I was really impressed with from the Jets was Nigel Hewitt. Their linebacker, who is also their leader in sacks and tackles and everything.
Like Le'Veon Bell of the defense.
A Le'Veon Bell of the defense. Exactly. That's about the best way to put it. He played really, really well. And obviously Jamal Adams played well. I don't see a safety play the run as well as Jamal Adams. Like, he can line up a solid Adam Gase-ish 15 yards off the ball and then just come flying down at the snap. Like, his play recognition is stupid. So it's basically, like, if you're going against a 7-man box, it's basically 8 with Jamal Adams. They played the run well, I would say, but also saw a lot of. I needed to see more wham plays. I needed to see more zone plays where you have either Goddard or Ertz seal off the backside for a cutback lane. I really want to see the film of the running plays they're running, because it didn't look smooth. It didn't look coordinated. There was a freak defensive lineman coming in the entire time who was not accounted for. And we did not see that against Green Bay. Every time they had a freak defensive lineman coming through, it was because they had a tight end coming back to chip block.
Right.
And that left a huge gap for the running back to go through. That did not happen in this game.
Yeah, you hate the internet. You hate to see it. But one man that stood out to me was Rodney McLeod, and it's someone where me and you sort of tag teamed this week and really attacked it and said, hey, let's just recognise just how good Rodney McLeod is being right now, because it seems to be massively overlooked. So you had the article side of it, I put out the film room, and then today comes out, massive interception, plays like a man possessed again. And at this point, I think the Eagles have got to give him another contract extension. Like, they pretty much reduced his contract to nothing this year after that injury. I think now they're about to come back and go, like, you know, with a bouquet of flowers after you've just had an argument with your missus, and come back like, Rodney, I'm really sorry about that. Like, here's a box of chocolates. Let's just get you in for 5 years. Like, I can see that happening, because he's playing like a god right now.
He is, like, you have two guys coming off major injuries in Brandon Brooks and Rodney McLeod, and they're both coming back terrifically. Like, it is fun to watch them play, and you can tell they're both at full speed of where they were pre-injury. And this was exactly what we needed to see from McLeod. You named it. You did it in your terrific video breakdown of it, and I mentioned in the article as well. Like, from now, what we've seen is McLeod being at his usual great in tackling, tracking down, pursuing quick routes, and coming up and making tackles. They're taking good angles on guys in open space, guys crossing the middle. What we need to see now was a little bit more like playing the ball in the air, like coming over before you have to make the tackle. That is exactly what we saw today with the pick. He was all over the field today.
Yeah, absolutely. So a new name we've got in the chat though. I mean, there's a lot of discussion right now about Darren Sproles. Psycho_012000 says that's how Sproles plays. So he's always played with that style to try and make people miss, and like basically is that kind of the whole debate we've got. I think it seems to be that Sproles isn't effective unless he's literally got a wide open field in front of him. Is there a need to have him out on the field, or is it just trying to pad his stats so he breaks all the records that he's so nearly close to, like he did today? I mean, where do you stand on this? Because on one side, it's like, yeah, we could use Corey Clement, and then on the other vein, you've got Corey Clement who fumbles twice on kick returns this year. So it's like you're between a rock and a hard place. And some people on Twitter were saying, like, well, Corey Clement's future with the Eagles is now massively in doubt because he's just come off injury, fumbled again. Like, he hasn't shown anything this year, not been given the opportunity to show anything this year, in what's been a really bizarre fall from grace. And I can't tell if the Eagles are trying to just push it all onto Miles Sanders, like we said a few weeks ago, or whether they just want to ride Darren Sproles off into the sunset in some Kobe Bryant like retirement tour. But I mean, what are your views on this? Because obviously we had a little chat about it very briefly before the show. But where do you stand on Darren Sproles and his involvement in the offense?
I was about done. I think when Darren Sproles, I don't know if he dropped the pass. I'm gonna have to look at that. When Wentz tried to go for him on that third down and 5-4 or something like that, and Sproles had the first down, had to make the catch, and to me it looked like he dropped it. It was a high ball, obviously, but let's be honest, every ball thrown to Darren Sproles is a high ball.
Yeah, because he's like 2'7". So it's
yeah, because it's basically having a major running routes for him. But so that's a problem. Because Wentz has a tendency of throwing higher balls, and that's why having guys like Alshon Jeffrey, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, in the Mac Hollins as well, having tall guys in there with big body frames and a wide catch radius, it helps a guy like Carson Wentz tremendously because he can fit the ball into some tight spaces, but he usually throws it a little bit high when he tends to miss a throw. So that doesn't do it well for Darren Sproles in the passing game. In the running game, like you said, he needs wide open spaces. He needs room to really work to become effective. He needs to get to the second level fast, but then he can do his damage.
Yeah.
And then he's been living in the past few years in his 30s. He's been living off punt returns. And there has been so many punt returns this year where he's just fair catching it, even though he has a field to work with. Like, yeah. I posted a video back from 2015 when I saw the Eagles play against the Jets in the Meadowlands, where he took a punt return back for a touchdown, where immediately as he catches it, he's being touched by a defender, makes the guy miss, and then goes. Now he's just fair catching it all the time, and it's super frustrating because you have a guy like Miles Sanders who's already in his rookie season making strides in kick returns. So if you want to have Sanders in on kick returns, why not just put him in as well on punt returns as well? Like, if he could do his damage there. My point is, I don't see what Sproles is doing that couldn't be replaced by anyone else in this roster.
Or even like Boston Scott, not to be that guy and keep harping on about preseason heroes, but came in, did it against the Texans for the Eagles when he first signed with the team. He's been there. That's been his whole kind of niche, I think, especially with the Saints during the preseason he had there. Showed a lot during preseason with the team. I think that'll be the future. I don't know why they're so, I'd say, besotted with Sproles at this point. It really is interesting, but I know he's got value on wheel routes and stuff like that, but at this time you've got Miles Sanders having won a game, Jordan Howard had one last week, so he's not needed anymore. He's just sort of like being pushed into it for the sake of it, it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. And just to go back to the whole running back situation, it's interesting because you have a guy like Corey Clement you don't really want to feature, and obviously Darren Sproles, as I can sense we're both not really high on right now. That just emphasizes more to me how much and how pivotal of a role Jordan Howard has on this team. It's incredible what he is. Like the fact that we got him for a 6th-round pick.
Oh, it's crazy.
Blowing my mind.
And it's a fact as well. Like, I mean, for the Bears, who've really lost that deal now. I mean, like, so Jordan Howard has 5 touchdowns this year. The Bears running backs altogether don't have 5 touchdowns this year. Yeah. It's remarkable.
That's incredible. They have no idea what they were doing on that trade, obviously. And like Jordan Howard, he's just a physical freak, man. Like, there's not a lot of running backs that you can send on a run where it's being blocked poorly, so you have a free rusher going through the open gap that the running back chooses, and the running back wins 9 out of 10 times, winning in terms of like getting positive yards, like usually 3-4 yards, right?
Yeah.
But he does that so many times, and like today, going back to the offense, when you had that situation on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, where one on 3rd down. They run that pass, the play action pass, where I don't know what that was or what that was supposed to be, and then on 4th down you go with Carson Wentz sneak.
Oh, don't get me started! Please don't get me started on the Carson Wentz sneaks.
That series of plays right there, those 2 plays on 3rd and 4th down, the third down thing, don't get cute. Come on. You have a 12 personnel on the
Yeah.
field. You have Jordan Howard there. Jordan Howard did not have a single run today that didn't go for positive yards, and he averaged about 5 yards per carry. You have him on the goal line with a fullback lead where he just plows it in for the touchdown despite being tackled already at the line of scrimmage and then just pushing forward for the touchdown. Why do you insist on pushing your franchise quarterback? He sneaks every single time. I don't get it. That you have a third or fourth down that is close. Either that or you run a play. It's like, just run the ball up with Jordan Howard. That's what you're having for. Like, that's what he does.
The thing is,
literally what he does.
Yeah, I've said it like every week now that teams are cottoning on to the fact that that's how the Eagles do it on fourth down. It's been every game this year. I can't think of a fourth one that hasn't been a QB sneak, right? And it has got to the point where the Packers very almost snuffed it out. And it was very close. It looked like Wentz took a bit of a tumble. This time, they had to get the chain gang out and have a look, and they didn't get it. Like, teams, if it's 4th and 1 and Carson Wentz is on the field, he's gonna sneak it. Like, it's becoming given that, and I know it's hard to stop, and there's the analytic of it having a 78% success rate, I think it is, or whatever it was mentioned in the broadcast. But if you know it's coming, surely, like, that's gonna pay. Let's play a game of, like, Eagles QB sneaks this year, and if you go from week 1 to now, you're going to go ding, 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 and it's going to plummet, and I don't think it's going to sneak back up because, yeah, Wentz is a behemoth and a monster athlete, but you can very easily stack that line, make all you can do is push extremely hard against someone like Jason Kelce, who is a little bit lighter, and you may not get that hole for Wentz to kind of just push through.
I mean, he is a behemoth and he is monster heavy, but he's also coming off a fractured back and a torn ACL.
Yeah.
So he makes some plays. He makes some scrambles today as well, like that one ridiculous scramble early in the game where he makes like 2 guys miss before he takes off for 5 yards. I was watching it with my dad, and he goes like, "Ooh, that's a risky play." And I was explaining to him like how Doug Peterson said in the press conference, like that's his game. Like that's just how he is. He will do that. You can't tell him not to go on a run like that, because if he starts thinking about it, if he has it in his instincts that, all right, now I need to go for this run, and he start thinking, oh, can I do that? Is that a right choice? That's when things will start to go wrong for him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He's gonna play his game, but you can limit the amount of hits that he's taking by not running QB sneaks, by actually just plow ahead. Like, Eagles have not had a bad play when they run with a fullback lead. Like, yet this year, it's not been a lot, but when they've been running up with a big formation with 2 tight ends and a fullback, things have gone right. Like,
there's no logical reason to it at this stage. I would be comfortable running like a slant concept on 4th and 1. Get the ball out quick, work against off coverage. Yeah. It's not difficult. Like, it's 4th and 1, but it's bearing in mind, like, it's not like it's, if you lose the 4th and 1, it's the end of the world. There's no need for that aggression to surge it up the middle. Like, if you're going to do it, like you said, use a fullback, use a power, like use an ISO, or whatever it's going to be to get the ball in. There's no need to risk your quarterback again and again. And I think you named it perfectly to just say, like, you know what? Like, limit the amount of hits he can take. Like, there's no point to just put him at risk. If he wants to scramble out, play his own game, and take a hit, that's on him. But if you're going to put him in a situation where he's going to get a collision, then that's on you as a coach, and that's where you've got to come in and make an impact.
Yeah, exactly what I was going for. I mean, because let him play his game.
Yeah,
that is just what you want. But like, notice the strengths around you, and that's always been something that I've been confident that Doug can do. Like, taking advantage of strength against an opponent and with the personnel that you have. But I don't think he did that, and I don't think that he's been doing this season with a guy like Jordan Howard.
No, I just don't understand. I mean, like, hopefully it changes. Like, I think it's one of those things where, again, the Eagles' offense tends to evolve as the year goes on. Like, we saw it last year and the year before. And, like, hopefully by week 8 and week 9, we're not having those same discussions about this and, like, why these odd decisions are coming out. And it may even be something else like... I mean, let's bear in mind, last year, Dallas Goedert wasn't used until, week 4? Like, we had the former Washington... Josh Perkins was against the Bucs, had a 50-yard game against the Bucs, and people were saying, well, where's Dallas Goedert, 2nd-round pick? What are you doing with him? Where is he? And they're like, he's not ready, and then he turns out to be one of the best blockers in the NFL. You know, it comes out and has a great rookie. So it just feels like it takes a bit of time for things to grow, but there was certainly some reasons to be concerned. Brian Cameron in the chat, Nice to see you, man. Hopefully you've just finished up another fire episode of Flipping the Birds. Obviously our chat is quite lively right now. A lot of discussion about Jordan Howard and Deshaun Jackson. Stephen Watson asked Jalen Ramsey or no. Anything happened to change your mind on this whole thing, Thomas? I mean, we've been fairly one side of the fence this whole time. But
we've been one-sided and we've been hammering the Jalen Ramsey trade discussions to death.
Yeah, it's just, that scene in Game of Thrones where, like, Jon Snow's there with a sword and all the horses are coming at him, and then me and you are just there like, oh, we're ready, okay, let's just swat him down.
Actually, let me take it out a little bit out of a wider perspective, not just on Jalen Ramsey, but in the general idea of trading for a cornerback. Because right now the Eagles are at a crossroads where they have to decide on whether they're going to bank on some of their injured guys coming back.
Yeah.
We're talking Crayon LeBlanc, we're talking about Jalen Mills, and we're talking about Ronald Darby, of course. Now, Darby is not the popular guy, and apparently Jalen Mills is catching a lot of popularity right now because we're like, oh, how bad can it be? And apparently we have a long-term memory loss right here of how Jalen Mills was playing when he was here. But, I mean, you got to decide on either taking one of your guys that are injured coming back or whether you should make a move for a cornerback. Now, I think the combination of the Packers game, where you had Aaron Rodgers playing like Aaron Rodgers is doing, he's also tearing the Cowboys apart right now. Let's go. He's playing really good football, right? He demolished the Eagles secondary. Like, Eagles did not have a coverage secondary that looked good. But then you're coming out of the game and you see these crazy stats about how many hurries the defensive line got on Aaron Rodgers and made him scramble out. So you have that part. Okay, so terrible secondary, but you're getting hurries. Then you have the game today. Like I was talking about earlier, with Luke Falk holding onto the ball for a little bit too long, with a subpar receiving core compared to Green Bay Packers, so it's a little bit easier to stick it in coverage, and you get a lot of sacks.
Sure.
So the whole narrative, can coverage create sacks, I think is starting to prove itself a little bit, and that should be an argument for going out and getting a Chris Harris, going out and getting Jalen Ramsey-esque guys that can come in and make immediate impact. I think Russell Douglas is playing really good football right now, and I would hate to see him leave the starting lineup. I think we're at the point of no return with him right now, where whoever comes back from injury should just go to the other side of the field and let Russell Douglas handle the rest, because of all the guys that we've been drafting. A second-round pick in Sidney Jones, third-round pick in Russell Douglas, fourth-round pick in Devontae Maddox, and seventh-round pick in Jalen Mills, and a third-round pick for Ronald Darby that went in the trade. Of all these guys, right now, to me, the only one I have faith in developing into anything of a starting cornerback is Russell Douglas.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That in itself should be an argument for going out and acquiring a veteran who can come in and help the coverage defense, which is like has been talked about for over the past 10 days here. Worst.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think it's gone from when the injuries first struck and everyone was really worried about how, oh my god, it's all gone wrong, we've just lost Ronald Darby, and then it's like, we didn't know what the price was. I think that was the thing. It was, is it just a first round pick for Ramsey? Yeah, sure. Like, why not? And it sounds so simple to kind of sit online and be like, hey, I'm going to give you a first round pick and we'll have Jalen Ramsey. And it's like, all of the other stuff never really factors into it. And then as time goes on and stuff gets a bit mistier and obviously more stuff on the field happens, a lot can change. I think that the argument for going out and getting a cornerback at this point is valid. But you're going to get to a stage where, as you mentioned, someone's going to have to lose out. Someone is taking the fall. For me, it's just you don't bring Ronald Darby back. They shouldn't have done it this year. I made a video. Again, I said every stream, made the video on it, got slaughtered and ripped to shreds for it, and I sip my tea gently every week ever since. But you're absolutely right. Russell Douglas has been the one guy that, come thick or thin, whether he's standing in with someone injured or he's playing just as a starter outright through his own efforts, has been consistent. Sidney Jones has got to prove he can stay healthy. It's now his third year in the NFL. He still hasn't done that yet. Whether he has flashes of elite talent that's buried by inconsistency because he can't get the experience to build out from that. Avonte Maddox is way too early to tell, but he's going to be around for a little bit. But you can't just bring a guy in and get rid of result. Like, you get to week 8, Darby comes back and you've just gone out and got Chris Harris or someone like that. you put him over Darby. Like, you take Douglas out for Chris Harris, given everything that's happened, and I'm right. If I'm Rizzo Douglas, I wouldn't even bother turning. I'd be like, I'm going to go full Antonio Brown, dye my moustache, have a total meltdown, and demand trade and all sorts. Because it's just like, he deserves better. And I hope that he ends up starting the rest of the year because, again, he's the only guy that I think genuinely deserves that role right now.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
So, let's move on to... Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
So I would say that while we're talking cornerbacks, there's one guy we have to mention. Signed this week. He spent the whole of season with the team, come in, nickel cornerback, Orlando Scandrick, I'd making the 53 pretty much throughout, but... Do you know what? I was like, hey, he had 13 passes defense last year in Kansas City. He's clearly still got it. And he's serviceable while Captain Cravon is on the sideline. Or whoever, like whether it's Maddox or Jones. They cut him. There was a rumour that a little birdie told me that the idea was that you cut him now and they want to use that 53rd spot as like the rotational one for a tight end or a corner, which is going brilliantly, I must say. Going in there with 2 tight ends every week. That's going great. So good idea on whoever's genius plan that was. But the idea was after week 2, when none of the salary was guaranteed, they can bring back Orlando Scandrick. They had a kind of like mutual low-key agreement. Scandrick comes back a couple of weeks later, wants to make prove a point that he isn't washed up, that he can still play in this league. 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles essentially, and I think it's called a strip 6. Is that right? Does that sound dodgy? A strip 6? Is that a thing?
That sounds almost. No, I'm not going to.
Sounds like a very good night, whatever it is. But I mean, he got one anyway.
I mean, that was incredible. Like, to me, I was a little bit nervous when I saw it because to me it looked like he was punching Luke Falk in the face, and the ball came out. But I also was watching at Nintendo 64 quality internet in Greece. So yeah, it was a great play from great play from Orlando Scandrick, man. I was just about to say, were you describing Orlando Scandrick to me, or were you describing Patrick Robinson? Sorry,
it's weird, isn't it? With yeah,
a lot like 2007.
But isn't it odd though? Like, I've not seen a nickel corner be blitzed like that in this team in forever. Like, I don't think I can. Like, yeah, you get Malcolm Jenkins come down in the nickel, but not a devote nickel, not a Sidney Jones or an Avonte Maddox blitz that much in a game.
You know, the great thing about it, usually when you send a nickel, a cornerback on a blitz, what you're banking on is for the tackle to the respective side to forget about the cornerback. Like, if he doesn't see him and he goes with the protection, like either the man up and he goes with the end, or he slides to either side and he forgets about the blitzing cornerback, and then he comes freely and then he makes the sack. Now, usually when DBs who are blitzing goes up against a tackle, they stop. Like, they don't make a move, or they try to beat them with anything. They just come in, and if it's not there, it's not there. Then they're occupied. Sure. Scandrick on his fourth fumble, on his what do you call it, strip 6. He came in. He got initially blocked by the right tackle, and then he worked his way around him and came in and made the strip. So I understand why Schwartz wanted to send him on blitzes that much, because he's a savvy blitzer. He's really going for it. He wants in there.
But he's been in the league since.
I can respect that.
Is it 2009 he's been in the league since, when he was drafted by Dallas? I think it was 09.
Keep talking. I'll double check.
It's either 2009 or 2012. I'm pretty sure it's one of those 2 years, but it's been a while. So I think it's one of those things where you sort of learn that. Like, you wouldn't see a younger guy doing that out of college, for instance, you know? But no pro sports on that level says, yo, LJ, talking about corner, what would you think if the Birds were to trade and bring back Patrick Robinson? I don't think they need to now with Scandrick. Like, that would be the caliber of player that they'd be looking for in a nickel, knowing that they have LeBlanc. They did the whole gentleman order of giving him that salary and keeping him on board next year. They've also got Maddox and Jones, who can play if needed when healthy. So I couldn't see them going out. Like, if they were going to do it, it would have been instead of Scandrick. But I would have been open to it before that, because I think we've all got a soft spot for Patrick Robinson. What do you think? What have you found, Thomas? You're very puzzled.
Scandrick's been in the league since 2009.
It was 2009. Look at that. There you go.
2008, and he began to start games in his career around 2013 when he started 15 games. Up until then, it's been like 2, 4, 3, 7, and 3 games started. So
there you go.
From 2013, he's really been starting to start games at a regular pace.
The more you know. Also, guys, if you're in this stream, I know we've only got like a little baby stream tonight. I think it's because the energy last week was so damn intense after that TNF win, and we all just went crazy. This one, the game was a little bit sleepier. We're a little bit sleepy. I think we're all just calming down. Jenny talked about the Eagles, but if you're here, make sure you leave a like on this stream because this is the best way to grow the channel. And if you've not said hello in the chat, ask us questions. We're going to be here for about another 25 minutes. If there's anything you want to see us discuss, just drop it on that right-hand chat side. We're a big community. We're all lovely, really. And we'd love for you to be a part of it. So get involved if you've got a YouTube account. There's 22 of you. I see a few of you in the chat. But let's just get as many questions in right now as possible. So Mayor XS says, Liam, the play where they sacked Carson and his leg bent back was crazy. Yeah, do we need to go back and look at PTSD of that play again where Wentz was sacked and is like he contorted into this weird Neo-Matrix position where he's dodging bullets for 20 seconds?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I think I lacked out at that point. I think that was a good thing that I did. I missed that.
Dude, it would have given you like real cool PTSD. Oh, Cameo Cummings says it's because people are watching the Cowboys game, which I think makes sense. A lot of people have gone straight onto that. But we're the diehards, and we're here to talk about Carson Wentz almost being obliterated by another. But do you reckon he's just become like RoboCop at this point? Like the hits he's taking now are all like, oh my god, no, and then he just walks up, he's fine, he's sprinting around again. Like, what if he's just a Terminator at this point? Like the surgery was like laser and iron and all this metal, just like getting him better.
That's why they want to keep going with the QB sneaks. Implant a launch pad in his feet that just sneaks forward.
He's like a titanium leg.
Doug knows.
That's gonna running joke for a while now. But maybe that's what happened to Cameron Johnston. We've always said he had an iron leg. Maybe it's Cam's gonna, hey Carson, let me show you this trainer I've got. He'll sort you out. All right, let's just get some iron in that leg.
Do we know the medical history of Cameron Johnston?
Don't jinx it. No.
Shady doctor.
I think he's okay as far as I'm aware. Luckily. But
also, how do you tear an ACL as a punter? I would like to see that.
It's probably like if you've been hit, isn't it, after the punt or something like that could work.
It has to be like a roughing the kicker where everything goes really bad.
Yeah. We've also got here Global Atheist. We have the Vikings up next. They just beat the Giants for us. So what do you think about that game? I mean, I'm very intrigued, especially after this game, purely because this one, it's really hard to know what you can take from it without seeing the tape and looking back. Like, watching it on TV, it's sleepy, the offense is sleepy, there's penalties, the defense goes and dominates against a terrible offense. It felt like a preseason game. In a way, it felt a little bit kind of... I don't know, like, the game was over the second the Eagles scored on the first possession. Like, the second they scored, I was like, yeah, there's no hope. That's done now. Like, I would have just, like, walked off, gone home, had a cup of tea and left it. So, like...
You were awfully confident. I like that.
I think...
You weren't confident at all with the Green Bay game, but you scored one point against...
yeah, but...
You're there.
But the Eagles haven't scored first quarter points all year. Like, they scored 3 per first quarter on average. I think it was like 3.2 coming into today. So to score a touchdown and to roll with it the way they did... And then just that first 5 minutes, I was just like, yeah, that's cool. They've got it. It's fine. No need to panic here. Like, there's no real danger. The one touchdown they concede, Corey Clement fumbles a ball, and that ends up like they give it. It's a trick play. Like, it's not like they've been outsmarted and out-schemed and Gaze has structured a comeback. Like, Adam Gaze was just... The entire game plan was like a flow chart of like, are we winning? Yes or no. If it's no, give the ball to Le'Veon Bell. Are we winning? Yes, no. Give the ball to Le'Veon Bell. And it was just that over and over. So I think moving now into the Vikings where, again, I know it's the same Atlanta thing. I'll be a bit more concerned because there's the revenge factor for them. Because the Eagles have basically beaten them to the ground, robbed their wallet and just poured their own money all over them with the Super Bowl win. And now it's that whole... I know it's tricky because
they had the revenge game last. They could have had that 2018 win.
I do feel like
I
know the whole Eagles Cowboys thing is a very historic rivalry. Like, I totally get that. Okay, like, and it's so deep, and every Eagles fan really, really, really hates Dallas. I would say though the more intense rivalries recently have been Atlanta and Minnesota, just because of like. Not so much. Obviously, with Dallas, it's a division. It's always going to be there, right? Like, you can't escape that. You play them twice a year. You're going to hate them. But in terms of other teams, like Minnesota, it is a grudge match now. Like, there is a hatred between Eagles fans and Vikings fans, and the trash talk before and after the games from both sides of the teams. Like, this is going to be, I think, for me, one of the best matchups of the year to watch, because you've got Stephon Diggs who's stamping his feet saying he wants out. You've got a quarterback that is about as consistent as, well, again, your stomach after a Vindaloo, for lack of a better term. And you go into a situation where the Eagles' defense is picking up steam. The offense should be a little bit healthier again and just settle back down. Like, it's going to be fun. But I'm excited for it. I think it's too early to look at predictions and that sort of thing. But I'm less nervous than I was about the Packers game, but I'm more excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Vikings game as well. I don't know about the whole rivalry thing. I think Vikings fans are just bitter and they just run their own little ramp. I don't really think Eagles fans have as much of a thing as of Vikings as they do towards us, because we humiliated them after they tried coming to Philadelphia and do stuff. But how did that work? So I really have confidence in the Eagles again next week. I really do. What's the word on Deshaun Jackson, though? I'd like to know that. Because
that's becoming a very Eagles medical thing, where it's like, oh, he should be back, then it's week to week, and then it's not week to week, and then it's week to week, and then he's back. Also, just a shout,
he's not come back this year.
He'll be back this year. If he's not, then the Eagles medical staff will need like a full-on league investigation at this point, because it's just getting bad. Philly Luke, I've seen you, like, this is your first time in the chat, so big shout out to you. Same to Isaac Tunius as well. Still a lot of talk about cornerback trades. I've seen 3 names in 3 messages. Xavier Howard, Chris Harris is another one. Is there a name you would go out for right now if you're Howie Roseman?
Who would I want to prefer out of all the guys that have been thrown out? Basically, half the league has been throwing out potential trade candidates for the Eagles. It's going nuts with all these trade speculations, and ultimately, we haven't heard anything except for the fact that in on Jalen Ramsey, just like every 30 other teams that have been inquiring about Jalen Ramsey. I don't know. I don't know who I prefer. I think a guy like Chris Harris makes sense. Because he's so good at playing off the ball coverage,
right?
And Lord knows that he's also playing a lot of off the ball coverage, and I think he could be had for a solid price, like not too expensive. You're not giving up your future just to stack up on a cornerback position. Let's see if Denver wins the game. I think they'll see if they win this game or if they're just gonna go in full sellout mode.
I mean, do you not think
who would be your preferred guy?
I don't know, because I mean, Xavier Howard's been a name that I really like, but I was all Minka. Like, I was all in on Minka before that. If that would have been the guy I shoot for. Like, Jalen Ramsey, I get, the price tag's big. Minka for me would have been the guy, because you can then have Minka and Rodney to build around. Like, you didn't draft a safety this year, didn't draft one last year, didn't bother picking anyone up except, remote controlled Carson Daho who just flies around doing whatever he wants. Like, I think having Minka to build around as a young guy, it makes sense to me, and I would have much preferred that. In terms of a corner, I think the Eagles would stay away from Xavier Howard because of the contract. Like, you look at the position at the minute, they've taken on guys like Darby. There was a time since Byron Maxwell, their whole position's been worth under $10 million in total. Like, they don't pay cornerbacks at all. Like, that's not what they do. They're very bang for your buck. They like those mid-round sort of guys. Of course, Chris comes in the chat and says Jalen Ramsey in capitals, because that's what Chris does. But I genuinely feel at this point, you'd be looking a bit further down the list. And if you look at even more recent cornerback history, Orlando Scandrick, Cravon LeBlanc, I mean, I don't even want to be that guy, but there's a certain player, and I won't name, you can try and figure out who I'm talking about, but plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's been doing pretty well. Was bought on board for basically nothing. Cut, there wasn't enough room. He's now off doing okay. It's one of those things, they just don't really bother spending money at cornerback. It's the same with running backs. It's why they don't go out and go for a Le'Veon Bell or someone. They just keep it under wraps. They build from the ball out, which is you invest all of that money in your defensive tackles, in your offensive line, in your defensive ends. Get that bolstered out, get your quarterback signed, and build as far out as the cash will allow you to. And when you've got stars like Alshon Jeffrey, who you know what you've got, that's fine. But in terms of corners right now, Artie Burns, Takeem Hilton says, I'd kind of like it. I understand the motive. Dory Jackson, and I don't like his game because he reminds me of Ronald Darby in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
But someone that
exactly.
but he would be cheap, and the contract would be cheap, and he's young, and he fits that mold.
But on the same team, I think I'd rather look at Logan Ryan.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's fair. There's a lot of names out there though, and that's the thing. Like it's such a diverse market, and because if you think it's not like wide receiver, like. The way I look at the Xavier Howard thing is if you're going to trade for Xavier Howard, you're looking at like an OBJ-esque trade package because of the length of the contract. Chris, leave the hair out of it, all right? I'm having a relaxing day. I've been flying around Prague everywhere, doing 9 articles. Leave it, all right? I'm allowed to have a rest and a pizza and a couple of beers. But no, I think if I'm going to pick one out, like... Yeah, I'd probably just go bland and go with some guy that barely anyone knows about and he'll come up and be big because that's just how he does it. I don't think we're going to go and see a big blockbuster Chris Harris level guy because it's too much.
But like when you look at the way you're talking about investing in different defensive positions, it's true that the Eagles have not been investing a lot of money in the defensive back position. And you could say the same for linebacker. They don't even draft.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at the like, it's not like the Eagles haven't tried to do anything about the cornerback position. When you give it away the draft capital they've been using, like I mentioned earlier, they've given out basically a second, two-thirds, a fourth, and a 7th round pick over the span of a few years on cornerbacks, and not really a lot has turned out the way you wanted to.
Sure.
So at some point, you maybe have to reevaluate whether you want to go for talents and prospects, which you usually have, you clearly have a problem of evaluating that talent, or you have a problem in progressing that talent to becoming an actual starting cornerback. And it's a really difficult position. It's a unique position to play in the NFL right now because you have so many rules going against you, and you have these superstar athletes that are doing crazy things that you have to defend week by week. So to me, it makes sense to make a move for a guy who's been in the league, who still has years left on their contract, even though you'd have to pay a guy like Jalen Ramsey top of the market cornerback money. Well, you get a guy who's proven. You get a guy who can ball out, and you're probably not going to hit anyway with 2 first-round picks on cornerback, given your draft history and given where you're probably going to be drafting for the next few years. So that makes sense. It also makes sense to give up significant draft capital for a guy like Chris Harris because he's going to be way cheaper than Jalen, but he's still a proven guy. He's a savvy guy. He wants to win. He's been on the Super Bowl roster before, and he's not happy with the situation, and that gives in Denver, and that gives you a lot of leverage when you're discussing trades instead of just calling up someone to say, "Hey, what's up? Is Dory Jackson, is he available?" So you get some leverage in your trade contract, in your trade discussions, and that's when you want to go for the obvious targets, and obviously that's why guys like Xavier and Chris are being proud of.
The name, because I wrote an article the other day, and that's what kind of sparked, because this whole Jalen Ramsey thing has fueled a million different angles, but I was thinking bargain bin guys that would fit what Howie looks for. I could see someone like, I would have said Captain Munlin before, but he's primarily like a nickel corner, so you're not going to see that now with Scandrick back. But Brent Grimes, is he a has-been? Maybe, but he is a 4-time Pro Bowler. And at the minute, your cornerback group is Rasul Douglas, it's Craig James, Sidney Jones if he's healthy, and Orlando Scott. It's a very young group. We've seen what happens before last year when this group's not at its best, or it's very young and unproven guys. You need someone that's been there, done it, that isn't going to get shaken off the ball or crumble under pressure, or I guess really just give some mentorship to these young guys and look for little flaws that they may not realise they have. I think Grimes as a 4-time Pro Bowler would certainly do that. And last year as well, believe it or not, that since 2016, he actually ranks inside the top 10, I think, with passes defense, which is pretty good for a guy that everyone's always washed up, he gets burnt a lot. Like, he's good at the catch point, which is all you need him to be if you're playing 10 yards off the ball. Another guy I mentioned in there was Denzel Rice, who a lot of you guys in the stream will know, been on the Eagles since, in 2015 as an undrafted free agent, and then kind of flew around. I think he's been with the Bills and the Browns, mainly the Browns where I know him from. But the Eagles cut LJ Fort, who had 2 special teams tackles on the year, played a significant role there. And I think Denzel Rice during his time has mainly been a special teams corner. So that would be at least a more subtle, like a bit of depth for you on that vein as well. The other guy, I like Jamalcolm Liggins, who we had this year, 6'3", out of a very, very small school in North Dakota, was waived because of Brett Toth and the Army Miracle story, which I know someone had to take the fall, but I thought he showed a lot in preseason, especially over someone like Josh Hawkins, who was useless. So it would have been great to keep Liggins around, but, he's not going to come in and start a game. The other guy I mentioned was Tyler Patman, who played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's kind of been in and around the league for a while, but has just not been able to find a home for whatever reason. So maybe a tryout just to see if he still got it or got anything left. And most recently played against or for the Cowboys, I believe, which, just get some intel in there. We've done it before. But yeah, those would be the guys that I would probably point to if we're going bargain bucket. Outside of that, though, unless you're going to break the bank, then I don't know.
Yeah, because the vibe I got from your article was that a lot of these guys are like stopgap guys for when
of course,
get the injured cornerbacks back. So at that point, you'd say, all right, we'll settle for what our defense is or was in last year. That'll be the strategy going forward with one of those moves, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you build it, you give like a few weeks there, then you can come back in a depth role and minimum deal, doesn't cost you anything, and you're cheap as chips, really.
Yeah, I can see that. What do you think about Stephon Diggs?
No, Diva. No, he wouldn't fit. Wouldn't fit the team. It's you've got certain calibers of receivers who are great receivers and subtle, and it's all about the game. Someone like Keenan Allen, I think. Keenan Allen, Alshon Jeffrey, Mike Evans, guys like that who are known for their game, not their theatrics mainly. I think Stephon Diggs is very vocal, can draw distraction, and for the money he would want.
So Jalen Ramsey's getting a pass because he.
Oh no! I've been aware of that, and I think that that was I've never been on board with trading for Ramsey. I've been like, let's look at every other option possible first, and then come back to it if we need it. But at the same,
his talent is making him like he can do a lot.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like Stephon Diggs is very good. Jalen Ramsey could be generational, and I think you can take a hit if you're going to get like a generational talent.
That's true.
But I think like the whole Stephon Diggs thing just confuses me. Like again, there's receivers that are known for their game. There are others that are so theatrical. Like although OBJ's calmed down a little bit, other than the whole gold watch thing, which I really don't get at all. But
I think OBJ has the new place for him in Cleveland, where there's not that whole New York media following him around.
Yeah,
it's been really great for him as a person and for his career as well, even though he's producing less.
But can you make the argument that maybe that would change with Diggs, though? Because if the second you come to Philadelphia, if, let's say, bizarre situation, Eagles go out and get Stephon Diggs, and he comes in and gets a bit vocal or takes shots at Minnesota or something, it would give him a week until the media rip into him and skin him alive, and he'd never do it again. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like the media in Philly is so cutthroat that it doesn't look like... You have guys before like that have come in, big rah-rah guys, maybe have a bit of a reputation, and within a few months... I mean, look at Nigel Bradham. I mean, I know he does like the dumbass award of the year, like every day. There's always one thing he does a year, but I can't think of a time since... I mean, 2016, I always make this reference, like that first year for Peterson was so overlooked because he comes in... You've got Sam Bradford holding out because he's pissed off they drafted Carson Wentz. You've got Nigel Bradham getting into scuffles over umbrellas. Fletcher Cox is holding out. I think Darren Sproles held out that year as well. You had half the team in a strip club, which went through. If you remember that, Nelson Aguilar got caught in that investigation, right? Since then, what has happened with this team? Because they're other than the cornerback, the former Panthers corner that was caught like on a DUI and was cut like instantly. Nothing. Like, it has been so radio silent because of the culture change. And I think it's a real testament to Peterson because you had so much drama around that team. Comes in, irons it all out, scuffs it out under the table, and then you just play football and you do what you're good at. And I think that's, if you can get a guy that's going to buy into that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, especially with like all the things you said, but also coming from the Chip Kelly years that were pretty much just filled with drama every week, and like the bizarre cuts and trades and getting rid of all the talent that made up why the Eagles were relevant, and then a guy comes over and has to take over from that, and with all the incidents that you were mentioning, that's a tough ask.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just really quick, I know we've only got like a few minutes left. We're going to try and shoot for an hour. I know we've got some football to watch, and there's a certain Packers game on when they're beating a certain team. I'm sure a few of us are interested to see. And obviously we've got the big Sunday night game as well. But Geordie Fighter asks, LJ, what's your favourite moment of fans doing something? His is fans shooting the flare gun in the vet or throwing snowballs at Santa. I don't know. Eagles fans doing things. I don't know. I like the fact that when I was in England, I'm biased because obviously I'm English, but like when I went to the London game and the Eagles rented out a bar, the whole bar all night was just Eagles fight songs. And it felt so surreal to see that kind of culture really travel. And you had like the No One Likes Us chant going on like in a bar, 3 a.m. on a Friday night. It was, I like that.
That's great, because you and me were both in that bar.
We didn't even know. We didn't even know. Like, how wild is that? Absolutely crazy.
I actually have a crazy story from that. I bought under the table VIP tickets for that pregame party. So I was at the Players Lounge where Brent Selleck and John Dorenbos were running around, where Jeffrey Louis entered with the Super Bowl trophy. All because we paid a guy under the table just to get up there.
That's amazing. Dude, how wild is it, though? That's crazy. But I don't know, in terms of like Eagles fans, I think that'd be up there for me. Or I love that video of that guy like leaning back with the Minnesota fan just shouting "Go Birds" at her. Like, that's timeless. I love that. And she's like screaming at him, and he's like, that's up there. Other than that, like, I don't know, the No One Likes Us chant was cool, but purely because it's got English heritage with Millwall, the team I hate. But that's not the point.
The Metro guy, after the Vikings game, where he's running after the Metro and then runs into a pole.
Oh, that was so good. That was amazing.
I met him in London as well. He had tickets to that game because of the video that went viral.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I think that talking to fanning, that was a really cool thing, like me being a Charlton Athletic fan. There was a video that went out this weekend. So Charlton played another team in London. So to get there, instead of driving, like they hired a boat and just sailed down the river and got off at Fulham, right? So there's this video someone's filmed of this boat full of Charlton fans all singing like a song. And another boat of Charlton fans drives past. And they all stop and start singing the same song at each other as they just go down the river. And that was like the coolest thing. But yeah, slightly unrelated note, but pretty cool nonetheless. But is there a poignant moment for you that sticks out for fans? Not Charlton fans, but Eagles fans.
Come again, please.
Is there a poignant moment that sticks out for you, for Eagles fans, that you remember?
Super Bowl parade. Is that too easy?
No, I think that's a very good one. The fact that you know how to grease up light poles to stop everyone climbing it like gorillas, I think that's quite it says a lot, right?
No, I think you hit on a lot of them.
I don't know. I think a lot of it is so like stigmatized. It's snowballs at Santa and it's batteries and it's like it's the wrong sort of image. Like for me, it should be fun and fans like the guy running into a pole or the go bird. It should be playful. It should be fun. Anything where there's a sense of like belonging.
Actually, I have to think. The night after Eagles won the Super Bowl, I was in Philly. I was in downtown Philly there, and I was really happy that I went because the whole narrative from the media afterwards, everything you saw on Twitter and in the news afterwards on American television, was this dude eating horse shit. And a couple of guys standing on top of a hotel entrance that broke broke down and crashed a window or something like that.
Oh my god!
And those incidents were just being replayed over and over. Oh, there, and then a light pole that got tilted because the dude crawled onto the speed of the grease light post. So those 3 incidents happened, and those were just being played on repeat. And my friends from Denmark, they texted me like, "Yo, Thomas, what the hell is going on in Philadelphia right now?" Because they saw those things on Twitter as well. And everything I experienced from being by City Hall and on Broad and being downtown there in Philadelphia, it was just like nothing violent, nothing stupid.
Yeah.
Like you had millions of people collectively just having a good time and enjoying finally winning Super Bowl. That was like there was if something can be magical, that will be it.
Yeah, that's it, and I think that's probably the best way to describe it. And I think this you get lost in that euphoria, and it's like there's always everyone does dumb stuff when you lose yourself in the heat of the moment. You know, whether it's an argument, whether it's a celebration, like. There are a million things you can look at. I'm sure in all of our lives we've had a bit too much to drink and we've gone out and jumped on a car or something. Like, you know, it happens. It's just the way of the world. But I think one last little note we'll have then before we go. No Pro Sport says I think Minnesota has some big time depth at cornerback. Someone could be poached for a mid-round asset. It's a good point. But I think we're going to have probably a few days now of people shouting about how good the Eagles defense is, and then the price will lower. And
no, that will not happen. You'll have a lot of people shouting about how irrelevant of a game this was and how none of this counts because it was against the Jets. And we're going to have to sit here and create content and takeaways in the adversity of people saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter, it's the Jets."
This is going to be a fun week, isn't it?
It's going to be a terrific week. Actually, I have one question for you before it's going to wrap it up here. And obviously, this is a tough question because we don't know a lot of these things now. We will know a lot more as soon as we get all 22 broken down.
Okay.
But what was your impression of Carson Wentz in this game?
No. Oh gosh. Okay. I don't know. I thought again it was like flashes of really good football. Like that one play to Zach Ertz where he somehow got it on the money. There was one where Ertz almost caught.
That's the play that keep rolling on my Twitter timeline. It's
yeah.
Like, oh, this MVP play, and this is all you need to see, and no capture needed. And this play just rolling over and over. And I was thinking to myself, right, other than that and the Ertz touchdown, what good play do I have?
Yeah, but do you not think a lot of it was vanilla offense keep away?
Yes, I do. And that's why I wanted to get your take on it, because then we can take it from there. We can roll through.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's not like he was out there against Green Bay where you know that Green Bay offense is going to come back and kick your ass, and if you score 6, they're going to try and score 7. Like that's the way that Green Bay goes, and you have to score, and you've got to be as good, and you've got to pick up yards and move the chains. Here, they just had to exist, and the Jets would beat themselves. And whether there was a premeditated foot off the gas, whether it was a schematic foot off the gas, it didn't feel like this was an Eagles offense challenging to win a game. It was just like they're out there. They had Josh McCown in the fourth quarter. Like it just felt relaxed, you know. And I don't think anything is on Carson. They're probably bad plays by Carson Wentz, but I don't think it's Carson Wentz was bad and one play made him look good. I think it was the scheme was extremely vanilla from what it looked like. It was a lot of mesh concepts, a lot of crossing, like a few screens. Like Alshon Jeffrey catching screens looking like the Hunchback of Notre Dame was not what I was expecting to see today, but that happened. So, did you see it though? He was proper hunched over with the ball at like 6'3", and I was like, "What's going on there?"
Exactly that.
Like, what is going on? Unbelievable. But yeah, I think it was probably more the scheme than anything else.
And also a lot of missed time penalties, like things that Carson couldn't control, put him in some situations that you do not want to be in. And a lot of what it came down to in this game was don't fuck up. Like don't create turnovers, which would get the Jets in a position to score, which they did. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah. He's going to be scolded for that as well. Like we could have had a shutout, and everybody's be going, "Jesus Christ, Corey!" Like, you know what's going to happen.
It's not just that he had this bad play. It's that he had 2 bad plays, and the Atlanta fumble was so vital to that game going south.
Yeah.
And everyone always like, "Oh, how do we lose to Atlanta? How do we lose to Detroit?" Well, because we did things like we did against the Jets, against teams that actually play good offense. like teams that are capable of putting points on the board.
Yeah, the Jets weren't until they were physically gifted. And I think, we can all take that away. But point is, the Eagles excel their record. They're now 3-2, and there's a very good chance the Cowboys will be 3-2 as well. So the division is wide open for the taking once again. That Week 7 matchup against the Cowboys is going to be a thrill ride and a half, regardless of what happens over the next couple of weeks.
Cowboys are down 24-3,
and
all of Cowboys Nation is melting down on Twitter.
It's what you love to see on a Sunday night. No Pro Sports asks what your alcohol of choice is. I'm not going to answer that because I can't work out if I want to vlog it tomorrow. But I've got like a whole vlog from my trip in Prague. So from going to the Flyers game, all that experience. And then if you follow me on Twitter, you saw I took my laptop on a date. Worst decision of my life because I didn't realise where I took it. It was like this, it was on a boat and I was like, do you know what? I haven't seen the city yet, I've been working. So I'm going to book a cruise at night and see all the lights. I book it, just find the first one. It was, it's a fairly nice price. You get dinner and drink included. Go on this boat and it's all romantically lit. It's tables for two, the entire thing, filled with couples. And I'm just sat there with my laptop. And this woman keeps coming up and like refilling my Prosecco glass. And I'm like, I'm just going to get messed up just editing articles and stuff. So, there's a vlog of like that whole trip, including that. I don't know whether to drop it in This Week in Philadelphia Sports or if I should have it as its own vlog. I'll make that call tomorrow, but that's coming.
I'm sure to get all those hockey, get those hockey shots in there as well.
Yeah. No, dude, there's an even worse one. I don't want to ruin it, but it's like a reaction test, right? So you have the stick and a puck, and you move the puck where the red light lights up. So it's like a board, like a hockey pitch, rink.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, and there'll be a red light, and you've got to push the puck over the red light, okay? I couldn't do this, and I kept pushing the puck off the pitch, and I got really angry with it, so I just picked the puck up and started smacking it all over the red light to boost my score up at the end. So that's in there. Like, it's great. It's going to be a fun vlog. Like, I think it's just hilarious, because there's, like, super soppy parts where I'm, like, almost crying, and then there's me getting angry at a game of like just smacking a puck everywhere. So it's going to be fun. But on that note, guys, we are going to leave it there because it's been an hour and I know that you're all busy and watching other games and stuff. So thank you so much for just taking the time to tune in to this stream. It's been amazing having you all here. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not already, that would be fantastic. Leave a little like if you could. Thomas, where can the world follow you on Twitter?
They can find me on Twitter at ThomasRP93.
Which is now on your screen.
Excuse me?
It's now on the screen as well. I've even added it on the screen for them to get a visual aid as well. Look at that.
Very nice. All right. And I think we should just enjoy that we actually had a game here where we can have a pulse under 100. And enjoy basically we had, with the Thursday night game, we had 17 days of Eagles rest before we play the Vikings. So we got Deshaun Jackson back. Otherwise, we're probably in trouble, but let's go.
Absolutely. So go Birds. Guys, enjoy your evening and enjoy the rest of the football. Stick around for Monday and Tuesday specifically. So we're going to have This Week in Philadelphia Sports tomorrow, actually will be filmed here. The vlog's probably going to come Tuesday. And then Wednesday's Eagles Film Room, which is going to be, we're going to find out what that's going to be on. Yeah. Any takes on what that should be on, Thomas, do you reckon? Like any topics? So I think Brandon Graham could be an interesting one. His game.
I think you could do like a film room with just D-line. Defensive lines with how some of these wins, all these QB hits, how they got turned out, some of the moves that we've seen from them guys. I know, for instance, just the Jerry Burnett on his sack, he had a nasty spin move, at least from what it looked like on the Wi-Fi down here. It's not great, but it looked like a nasty spin move, and I really want to see that again because most of Jerry Burnett's sacks have been coming against tight ends. But this was against a left tackle on a spin move, getting a sack. I think that could be a quality concept kill.
There we go. So we may have even seen a spoiler for that film room. And if we have, well, you know who to thank, and that'll be Thomas RP93 on Twitter. If you want to follow me, it's at Liam Jenkins PSN, Philadelphia SN as well. It's all on the screen. Thank you for tuning in, guys. You are the best fan base on the planet. You know that. I'm going to try and save the SOP this week because you're going to get bucket loads in this vlog and it gets very emotional. So just thank you for all the support. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.
and only soul that has no helper. Oh, maybe I'm just alone. I trust my gut, but I've never let it go. So far now I wanna know what you thought you had done when you allow me to be all the things that I'm not. Well, it seems like I'm caught every time you remind me. You're right to take away my pride, to burn it to the ground so we can start again. My crime's a legend to remind, to burn it to the ground so we can start again. So burn it to the ground. I lost the course, the fight to change my life. There seems no time for respite. Maybe you should just go. I changed my ways, but I never thought I'd find no time to hide in my mind. In the hope you would stay when you allow me to be all the things that I'm not. Well, it seems that I'm caught every time